The year is 2015. Adele is the #1 song on the radio, and there I am in the middle of a Missouri Walmart during Black Friday. I was wandering through the store with my dad, watching at what the time I thought were insane people grabbing 4 microwaves off a pallet, but as we hit the back of the store, I found what I was really looking for, in my memory appearing as a diamond in the rough. That thing was Splatoon. This game changed my life in ways I didn't know were possible. In fact, I wouldn't even have this whole channel if it wasn't for this game. While most people's first video was of them playing Call of Duty or Minecraft, mine was Splatoon. I was absolutely obsessed with this game, and at one point, it was my whole life. And I unfortunately have proof of that.
Guys, if you did enjoy this vid, please do make sure to leave a like and subscribe.
Wait, why was I better at plugging when I was 10 than I am now? Subscribe? And it stayed this way for a couple years until a certain successful portable console came out. With the release of Splatoon 2, I began to slowly lose my interest in the original game that I loved, until eventually I gave it up, and it, along with the Wii U, began to collect dust in the back of my closet. Alright, big time jump time, and oh, hi, I'm here now. It's 2025, and I've recently got back into Splatoon, and please help, because I am addicted. There's just one tiny, small, possible difficult issue that I'm running into. I'm really bad at this game, it turns out. I don't know how or when this happens, but no matter what I do, I just get absolutely rolled. I really feel like I'm Lightning McQueen at the beginning of Cars 3. There's like nothing I feel like I can do. So now that I've officially hit Unk status with Splatoon, I decided to go back to where it all started. Opening the game, and then waiting 10 minutes, takes us to the character selection screen, which, in comparison to Splatoon 3, is insanely bare. Normally I would skip talking about the tutorial because who in their right mind would care, but oh my god, what is this controller that I'm using? I feel like I'm more trying to drive a spaceship than play through a video game. Like this thing is more brick than controller. Loading in, Callie and Marie let us know that the president of Vives, the great Zapfish, has disappeared. And since Nintendo rudely took away the Wii U servers, this is really my only option for playing through this game again. Coming out of the drain, we meet Captain Cuttlefish, who asks us to help find the missing Vives master. After asking, he then forcefully gives us the job and declares us Agent 3. After being employed against my will, I headed into the levels, and after beating the first one, I began to feel a certain type of way. This game feels awesome. Like 3, don't get me wrong, 3 is probably a much better made game, but maybe I need to play with the flight controls. I need the ability to drive. I need to drive my plane to play my Splatoon game. I need it. In fact, I crave it. In other news, this is a great time to bring up a certain part of this challenge. We're going to use the word challenge pretty loosely here, okay? Since this game is by no means difficult, I decided that I was going to complete everything that I possibly can. This includes every Zapfish, every sunken scroll, and yes, every single weapon upgrade. And so I continued on, finishing the second level, and I missed the sunken scroll already. But that's fine, because I'll just go through later and do them all in one fell swoop, right? Right? This finally takes us to our first boss of this whole game. Standing there, imitating people from miles and miles away, there he was, Jonathan Stamp. So, like you're expecting, I ran through this boss very quickly and deathless. Oh, I'm actually dumb. I then defeated the boss and was able to move on to our second area. By this point of playing, I was starting to fully get in the swing of playing this game again. I was running through every level, grabbing Zapfish after Zapfish with precision. No, I'm gonna hit this. No, I'm gonna hit this. There we go. Okay, but like actually, I was really beginning to remember why I even loved this game in the first place. This gameplay of quickly moving in and out of the ink to take down your enemies remains in the other 2 installments. It just doesn't hit the same for me. Maybe I actually like using the gamepad? Maybe it gets a bit more hate than it deserves? What if we brought it back, you know? What if we brought it... Uh-oh. Anyway, after having another terrible take, I completed this area and headed on to the next boss kettle. Of any of the bosses in this game, the Octonozzle is actually probably by far my least favorite. The gameplay loop just really doesn't do it for me here. It feels really slow, but also not challenging. But then again, this is a children's game, so I should really not take that too seriously. Grabbing the Zapfish, somebody cuts off Cuttlefish on the radio, but that'll be a bit more important later. Starting off this area, I found the first 3 sunken scrolls, so surely I'll find them all on the first try. Yeah, I set myself up to fail. Otherwise, it's a pretty generic area overall though. There was only one small, tiny, possible embarrassing moment while trying to find the last kettle. For some reason, it actually took me 3 whole minutes to find this specific kettle. This is in no way a big area, so I have no idea why it took me this long to find one. Moving on from me being lost, I headed into the boss kettle to fight the Octo Whirl. Alright, I'm gonna yap. I love the design of this boss. I think this is almost a perfectly designed Splatoon boss fight. It feels like this boss could only truly be done in this franchise, as it uses the game's mechanics perfectly. While still on the easy side, I still think the last phase can be difficult to do on the first cycle, which at least gives it a leg up on some of the other bosses I've faced so far. Finishing the boss, Cuttlefish attempts to look at something before being kidnapped by a wonder who. Area 4 then began with a fan level, where after we're introduced to Agents 1 and 2, and I wonder who they are. Sorry, this is a game made for children. I really shouldn't be talking because this definitely blew my mind as a kid. I then headed into the next level and started that off with no errors. Whoops. But after that, all the rest of the levels were just your standard Splatoon story mode levels. All that remained in this area was the boss kettle. This was the only boss in the game that I just had absolutely no memory of. And I'd 100% be lying if I said I wasn't a tiny bit intimidated by him at first. Originally, I thought I had to take out the whole row of teeth in order to defeat him. It turns out I'm just a bit stupid and you only really have to take out the middle two and then you can just throw a bomb in there and that's how you beat him. I spent way too long trying to take out all the teeth before I realized that. Once I figured that out, I swiftly beat that boss and realized I shouldn't let myself get intimidated that easily. Like clockwork, after beating the boss, our radio was once again hacked, and at this point, the game really wasn't trying to hide it anymore. We're really just gonna call, I guess this is a children's game. But, it's the final boss. We've reached the final world of this game, and like you'd expect, there really wasn't much of a challenge. Well, except for level 25. I really don't want to talk about how long I spent here. To put it simply, way too long. After the amount I'd played this game, I really didn't want to go slow anymore, which is impossible when you're trying to get around the flutters. I can't describe to you how stupid I felt after doing all of this level, and you really don't want to know why. Okay, fine. This was my first and only game over. So yeah, let's say I'm a pretty big fan of this level. Eventually, I was able to beat that level along with the next two, leaving only the final boss left. But it wasn't quite time to take him out yet. I first needed to go through and complete all the sunken scrolls that I had missed throughout. This process itself wasn't too bad, I just might have missed the second scroll for an extended period amount of time. With all the scrolls finally collected, now it's for sure gotta be time to take out the boss, right? Nope. Let's roll back a little bit to what I said at the beginning of this video. This includes every Zapfish, every sunken scroll, and yes, every single weapon upgrade. While I didn't know it at the time, that's one of the stupidest things I've ever said. I checked my upgrades to just see how far away I was, and the number was about, 5,800 power eggs? Lovely. Since I knew I was gonna have to grind out getting these power eggs, I tried to look up a good level to do that on. I saw someone say level 25 was a good level, but I really didn't want to have to deal with the flutters again. So after looking around a little more, I saw somebody mention the Kraken levels with the squid amiibo. Well, this would be a good idea to do them. I don't really want to go out and find those amiibos, as that might take an extended period amount of time. And then I would also have to do all the Inkling Girl and Inkling Boy challenges, and that just doesn't, I just don't want to do that. Like, it just doesn't sound like a good time. Oh, fuck. Alright, here we go. It's time to play through the game a whole 3 more times. Are we excited? Let's do this thing. Okay, well, I am a bit upset. I would be lying if I said it wasn't fun to play as the Kraken. Like, I just genuinely fly through everything. Problem, though, that wasn't the only gimmick for this amiibo. About 4 levels in, they decided to change the Kraken gimmick for a couple levels to a gimmick with ink saving, which here you're only given a small amount of ink to use for the whole level. These levels aren't really the most difficult things in the world. They're not very fun. You have to go very slow throughout them, and if you've learned anything from watching this video is I don't have the patience for that. So those were not fun. But at least there wasn't too many of them, and I was able to beat the whole thing within like an hour. But here's me doing it in 3 seconds. Pretty cool, right? I then moved on to the Inkling Girl amiibo, which requires us to beat all the levels using the charger. And I can tell it's been quite a long time since I've played this game because the charger is slow. Of the 3 different amiibo challenge runs, this one is by far my least favorite. Maybe this would have been different if I was more used to this version of the charger, but either way, it's time for another 3-second montage. The final amiibo, which I named Sonic. Anyway, this one involves playing through the levels using a roller. My actual first ever video was a montage of me using this weapon, which thankfully does not exist anymore. As I went through these levels, I began to remember why I would exclusively use this weapon. This thing is nuts. On the boss levels, you can just straight up one-shot the tentacle arms. So this was easily the fastest of the 3, and I was able to complete it, and there it is in 3 seconds. Even cooler the 3rd time. With the extra speed bumps out of the way, surely it's finally gotta be time to take on this final boss, right? No. Even after playing through the entire game basically 3 times, I was still 700 power orbs short. So I went into level 27 and grinded power eggs for like 15 minutes, and there we go. Now I have it all. Now I have every upgrade, which means it's finally time to take on the final boss, DJ Octavio. The CEO of Beats starts by throwing different projectiles at you all the way up until he decides to use this fist. You shoot these fists back at him, which will send him flying backwards. When he's eventually backed into a corner, he'll throw this giant projectile at you that then you must send back at him. Later throughout the fight, he'll add more projectiles, such as a killer whale, or these other forms of bombs that will turn into enemies. This does hit a breaking point eventually, though. The moment is, of course, when Captain Cuttlefish is freed and Calamari incantation hits. All I'm saying is you either get it or you don't, and for me, this changed my life. Oh. When this hit as a kid, my brain exploded. With Octavio now defeated, we are sent back to the main menu and shown that the President of Vives has been restored to his former glory. After beating this game again, I was brought back to the same... Oh? What's that? Wait, what? So, since I committed to beating all these amiibo challenges, I have to beat Mr. Octavio 3 more times. Okay, fine, I'll do it, fine. Back to what I was saying. After beating this game again, I was brought back to the same feeling I had as a kid. It's always interested me that these small things about remembering parts of my childhood make me feel happier than I could ever imagine. I struggle to feel super connected and involved with the games I'm playing now, rather than how I did as a kid. Being able to replay these games that were so important to me growing up has almost brought back these same feelings in a way. I left this game feeling the same combined version of happiness and wonder that I would always feel as a kid, and I'm just so grateful for that. If you're still watching at this point, as always, thank you, and I appreciate it. If you do, you should totally like, comment, subscribe, But for real, it really does help me. Otherwise, that's it. Bye now. Bye forever now. Bye. We'll see you next time, hopefully. Please come back next time. Bye now. Bye forever now. Please subscribe now. Bye now.